Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Soul Goals. My name is Dawn, and just like any other episode, I have a brilliantly amazing person to feature today on the podcast. Interestingly enough, I met this individual when my daughter and I were in Boston on a girls' trip over the holidays this past Christmas, and we just randomly decided to do a tour of Fenway Park. Okay, so this is how synchronistically things work. I'm just letting you all know this. We had no intentions. We just knew we were going to go and sightsee and see this cool stuff over the course of like 72 hours. Dude, I think we walked like 8 miles a day in the city of Boston, if that's possible, right? Yeah. So we go to Fenway Park. We're like one of 6 or 7 people in the brutal cold in mid-December that's out there touring Fenway Park. And Meredith happens to be our tour guide for the day. And she was brilliant. I loved that time with her. And you know, when you meet somebody and you go, there's something more there, and I want to know more about that. After the tour was over, we sat and talked for a little bit, and I just felt really, really compelled to speak to you today and to bring you on the show and talk to you a little bit more about your process and how you got to this job and this place in your life that is so fulfilling, because it wasn't always that way for you, is from what I understand. So, without further ado, from Boston, Massachusetts, let's welcome Meredith to the show. Woo, woo,
Hey,
woo.
you, Dawn. It's good to see you.
You as well. Tell me, oh gosh, we're in Nashville. We had snow here like 2 weeks ago. We had 8 inches, which is unusual, like highly unusual. And I just
Tennessee,
asked
you
you,
have to borrow a plow from like Kentucky who gets it from West Virginia. Something like that. You guys have like one plow for 3 states.
yes, that's us. That's us. We did nothing for like 6 days. And then there was ice on top of it. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But I was just asking you before we hit the record, like, what's it like in Boston today? What's your weather?
Yeah, it's pretty gray right now. There's some blue peeking through, but the past couple of days we've actually had a lot more sunshine than we had pretty much throughout January. It's been pretty
Oh,
cold and gray and just ugh
oh,
here.
yeah.
But,
No snow though?
no, not where I am. I'm about 8 miles south of Boston, almost on the water.
Okay.
So the communities west get socked, the communities north get socked, but we're pretty sheltered where
Yeah.
we are. Dusting, maybe an inch or two, but nothing to speak of.
Okay. Do you like living in Boston?
Favorite city on the planet. I
Yeah.
love it here. This is my
We had
second.
such we had such a great time when we came there. It was so fun. Neither of us knew like big old goose egg about Boston other than like the Freedom Tour and all that stuff, and that Fenway Park was there, right? And then the popular colleges, but she's like, "Oh, let's go someplace we've never been just for like 2 days." I'm like, "Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was great." So, I want to talk to you today about your process and where you started, because you started in California, from what I understand, with your work. And interestingly enough, I think that Meredith presents a really unique piece of character that had to really fight to get to a place of acceptance, self-love, and I won't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your experience growing up, landing in California in college, and your first job, because that's where a lot of your stuff really started for you, from what I understand.
So I grew up in a small town in upstate New York, foothills of the Adirondacks. And I went to Ithaca College and majored in television production. And I had the incredible opportunity, rather than go abroad, I went to Los Angeles.
Okay. Okay.
And they had a satellite campus. We did 9 credits of classes, 6 credits of internships. And I ended up at the E network. And it wasn't then what it is now. This was the mid 90s.
Mhm.
Talk shows. Everybody and their brother had a talk show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Soup was a big thing. It started with Greg Kinnear, and then it went with John Henson. And
Mhm.
I did an internship there.
Mm.
And it was incredible. It was an eye opener in the best possible way.
Awesome.
And realize that while the people with whom I worked were supportive and nurturing, that it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I have a 4-year degree in television production and have never used it.
But don't you think that's kind of, I mean, unless you're really specialized, I think a lot of people end up going that strange direction.
Yeah, my original plan, I've always been into pop culture television. We didn't have we had 4 channels growing up on
Okay. Mm.
cable. So it was PBS was my thing, and my parents would watch with us. So Sesame Street, Electric Company, Square One. I kind of aged 3 to 1 Contact. I aged
Yes.
with those. And my original plan was to end up in New York with Children's Television Workshop.
Okay.
Uh, that just it didn't manifest. It wasn't in the cards.
Yeah.
So I came back for my senior year of college, got very involved with the radio station there,
Mhm.
and realized that because I've always been surrounded by music, I'm from an incredibly musical family. I'm a theater kid. Shocking.
Okay.
Um, that radio was what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Fortunate to secure an internship in the summer between my second semester of junior year and the first semester of my senior year. And
Okay.
I got to work in radio and I had the time of my life.
Aw.
Yeah.
So the
And
radio was really, that was your draw. So I mean, I guess if you would think about your college, what you're doing with it, you're still utilizing that television production kind of thing, but in production, but just in a different
oh, yeah, the
different look.
communication skills that I developed, the interpersonal skills
Mhm.
that I developed. Oh, it was not a waste of 4 years. That
Yeah.
is for sure. I treasure those 4 years and the friendships that
Yeah.
I made have. So
Yeah.
it was definitely worth it. It just made me realize maybe I was built for something else.
Okay.
First step.
Okay. So that's your first realization that this isn't really what I'm desiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
How were your I mean, how old were you at that point? 20 yet?
I was 2021 when I was in no, it was 20 when I was in LA because I wanted to be back in Ithaca, New York for my 21st birthday.
Okay. Okay. So thinking about all of that you went through those first couple few years of college and the great stuff, you're setting yourself up for this place of I can see what I want, and then you're in a situation where you're like, glad I had this experience, but I don't really know what it is. Like I think most college people are, or college kids rather, will say, are trying to find what it is that they want to do, find their identity, so to speak, right?
Agreed.
So, tell me a little bit more about what happened with you after that radio job.
Well, after I finished college and I ended up employed by
Mhm.
that. And again, this is in the mid to late 90s. And they held a job for me. I impressed them as an intern, and they held a job for me. So I became a peer to the people who mentored me.
Okay.
And it was great. I was having the time of my life. I got to do so many cool things as an intern and then as an entry level. I mean, I did overnights, nobody's
Yeah.
listening to the radio in the middle of the night, except for maybe long haul truckers. Uh,
But it's experience and it's good
yeah,
stuff.
oh, absolutely. And it was what I spent my final semesters of college doing. So it was
Mhm.
kind of, I went here and then I went here.
Yeah.
Uh, I had some incredible mentors, and they've all moved on to bigger things within the radio industry.
Mhm.
And when they started leaving one by one, I realized that my support system was being decimated.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I found myself increasingly uncomfortable. And I didn't have that. inner strength as a 22, 23-year-old
Yeah.
to do about it. So
Yeah.
there was change in management, and that particular person who came into that position is not somebody I ever need to see again.
Yeah.
Not going to give names. I don't want to give any identifying details. It's just somebody I've made inner peace with, but if I never run into them again, fine, well, and good. My life was made very, very difficult because of who I was and who I did not allow myself to be.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. So knowing that you're in such a turmoil state and that your support system is gone, how did you get through this job?
Uh, I relied on my family and my friends
Mhm.
very much to be from a close knit, small family. I have a younger sister who is my best friend in the world. Uh, and I have a small group of friends, one of whom I've known since 1979. We've been friends since we were 5 years old.
Aw.
Uh, and just a small group of friends, and they kept me grounded
Mhm.
and were a bit of an escape
Okay.
from what, my day to day. I still
Mhm.
reported, I still did my job, but it was not easy for me to do my job among the people that had begun to come into the radio station.
Yeah.
So it was in that time where I also began to manifest my clinical depression,
Mm.
undiagnosed at that time and untreated at that time. So here I am. I like to joke that I was so far back in the closet, my zip code was Narnia.
No.
Uh, Deeply closeted. I mean, I knew, everybody else knew, but
Mm.
it's something that I wasn't able to bring myself to recognize.
Sure.
And my coworkers used that against me.
Um,
Yeah. And it just brought me to a very, very low place.
mhm.
And I uh, I tried to kill myself. I tried
Mm.
to run myself off the road, and I survived.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where I go back to. I survived. I have a, I don't know if you can see
You have the semicolon.
my colon. I did this
Yeah.
for my birthday one year. Do
Oh,
you?
I have I can't pull my sleeve up if you can see it, but I have a tattoo on my arm that says pause with a semicolon, breathe with a semicolon, and then resume with the dot 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 to follow it.
For me, the semicolon means I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
There is more.
Yes.
There is more. So here I am at this radio station. I thought it was going to be my dream job. It turned into something 100% less than that. I don't regret any of the experiences that I have because my mantra is kind of, as the great Kelly Clarkson likes to say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah. Right.
So I kind of muddled through for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a very long time. And I think I talked to a guest last week about high functioning people. I think when you're in that position where you feel you have no other options other than to stay where you are, but all of this stuff is happening inside of you and you feel helpless to change it at the
I
point
don't
where you were.
water. You're just treading water in the middle of the ocean. Your head is above, you're breathing, you're okay, but something could pull you down at any minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to travel to Europe. I was invited, my family and I were invited to a wedding. My family has hosted exchange students since the early 90s,
Oh,
and
nice.
we were invited to Italy to go to a wedding. And I took that opportunity to travel. And a friend from college met me over there
Oh,
and went to Milan, and we went to Florence, and we took the train up to Nice and the train up to Paris. And it was a real mental palate cleanser,
Yeah.
if you it was a chance for me to just kind of say, "This is who I am. This is how I exist outside my own reality. Can I make this my reality?"
Oh, wow.
And on the plane home, I said, "I need to do something." And when I got home, I called a high school friend who was in HR with the corporate office of a retail music chain.
Okay.
And I called her. I said, "Anything in Boston?" Because I have family here. I have roots here.
Yeah.
And she put me in touch with the hiring end of HR because she was compensation and benefits.
Mhm.
Um, she did come in handy at that point, but
Yes. Perfect.
yeah. And she put me in touch with two really cool people from HR, and they put me in touch with somebody here in Boston. And I landed a management and training position for a national music retail chain.
Yes.
And when I gave my 2 weeks to the owner of that radio station, I felt like I could fly. Honestly, I'm tearing up thinking about it, just that it felt like a massive exhale.
Mm.
Like I was finally free,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know? And they were accepting. Obviously, they accepted my resignation. They understood. And I'm still in touch with some folks who are still at that radio station. We have a really nice relationship. I've been back. The owner died several years back suddenly, and I went to the funeral, and I was reunited with my mentors
Okay.
from internship and that one person who made my life very, very difficult. But at that point, I had already come out,
Yeah.
and he didn't have that hold over me.
Ah, it took you making a choice after a very dark period. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was kind of what kicked off the journey that I've been on for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, I made this move to Boston. My aunt and uncle took me in for almost a year until I was able to afford an apartment.
Mm.
Roommates. And I got in, and I have a passion for music, as I have a passion for beer, the same
Yes.
sort of. And my aunt and uncle supported me literally and figuratively, and in a very abstract way, got me where I am at Fenway Park. It's abstract, but it's there.
Okay.
So I ended up here in Boston, living on the South Shore, 2 towns away from where I am now, and got in at this music store. Massive, massive store. 10,000 square feet, multiple floors, and I was paired with a training manager who kind of set me up with a mantra that I go back to nowadays.
Okay.
Not circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah. I've used that. It's a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And, don't stress over what you can't control.
Yeah.
He taught me that, but it really took many more years for it to take root.
Mhm.
So here I am helping run this massive music store in the heart of Boston. So many more incredible experiences, so many more people to meet. And it was then where I realized, all right, I am at a place in my life, mentally speaking, where I feel comfortable being my true self.
Oh, beautiful.
April of 2001, where I realized, huh, no, I'm not straight.
Yes. Wait.
I had long curly hair. I was dating a guy, and I realized, no, this is not who I am. This is never who I've been. This is me as a square peg trying to fit into a round hole.
Ah,
Now, finally said, you know what, this is not who I'm meant to be. This is who I'm meant to be. So I made the decision to accept the biggest thing about myself is that I was queer.
Mhm.
Word queer. It has pejorative implications, but that's not how I mean it.
Right.
Uh, I'm married to a woman, and uh, I do not identify as a lesbian. That word never struck,
Yeah.
never flew with me. I like the word queer because the alternate meaning is odd,
Yeah.
little weird.
Okay.
That's me. I'm a little weird.
Well, it's I think it's a piece of you that you connect with and it's relatable. That word is relatable for you in the
Yeah,
context of your life.
yeah. So here I am. I'm 25, and I finally come out of the closet. And when I saw my three closest friends from home, we were at another friend's wedding, and I met the three of them in one of their hotel rooms. And I said, guys, I have some news. I got the puppy head tilt. I put myself inside a large wardrobe, burst out, and yelled in my best Ethel Merman voice, I'm gay.
Oh.
And the student just looked at me and said, duh.
They were like, how do we respond to that?
They're like, well, you're the last to know. We've all known for years.
Oh, wow, Meredith.
Consensus. Yeah, everybody in my life has been so accepting, so wonderful. I've not had any speed bumps because everybody knew before I did.
Wow. Or they knew and you knew innately and
Yes.
just weren't ready to put
I
all the
wasn't
pieces together.
Yeah. Oh, I've known since I was probably 7 or 8 years old.
Mhm.
But, I was born in the mid-70s, so I was in school in the 80s, and being gay was not as accepted as it is today, and it's frankly not that accepted today, but it was worse then.
Mhm.
Um, and the last thing I wanted to be was different.
Yeah.
So I just kind of and then when I had a frame of reference of what gay meant, it clicked. And then, it took me to age 25 until I was ready to accept that about myself.
Yeah. Which is
So
a long time. Yeah. Yeah. How did that feel for you to finally go, "This is who I am," for yourself, not for anybody else?
again, it was like a bit of a weight.
Yeah.
Was um, here I am treading water and suddenly a platform appears underneath my feet.
Oh, I
It's
love that.
I was supported by my friends, by my family.
Yeah.
I met an incredible woman and we were together for 2.5 years.
Mhm.
We're still friends to this day. She and my wife enjoy each other very much. She
Okay.
was at the wedding.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was an interesting time because most straight kids date through high school and through college, and
Mhm.
I did that, but it never really felt right. And now here I am as myself, and I had all of those experiences that one would normally has as a teenager as a young adult.
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting. It
When
was an interesting.
developmentally as a teenager, our developmental process is so different than what it would normally be as a 20-year-old in our 20s, in our 30s, even in our 40s.
Very different.
Yeah, so you were growing up, if you will, in your 20s in a much different capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. So I had a few more years here in Boston, at that music store, having a ball. Oh my goodness. I was living here when the Red Sox reversed the curse. The first time they won the World Series in 86 years. I was living here, and we had David Ortiz in
yeah.
my store. He came in to sign autographs, and I got to meet him, and I was like, He's
It's an idol, yeah, like, what?
massive and just
Yeah.
and then not too long after that, I accepted a position in the corporate office
Mhm.
of this national music chain, and that corporate office was in the Capital District of New York, which was
Oh,
just south where I'm from.
okay.
So I moved into the Capital District of New York. My grandmother was still alive at that time, and I was only 10 minutes from her.
Mhm.
My parents and my sister and my closest friends from school. And I got into a situation that I thought would give me a sense of balance and normalcy, a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Right.
Something that I never had because I worked in radio and that's not normal. I worked
Right.
in retail, that's not normal.
Yes.
So I found myself with a desk and I found myself with a Monday through Friday with a lunch hour.
Mhm.
Once again, thinking that that's normal. That is what my path should be.
Should,
Yeah.
in quotation marks, yeah.
Yeah.
In my past, we call that the should monster. It's coming up that we say. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that one's been on my shoulder for a while. That should monster is still following me.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll brush him off there. Yeah. There you go.
um,
Interesting though that I mean, but the excitement for it was still there and the anticipation of this is
yeah,
really and I think, as I'm listening to you and you're going through the job and the processes that you went through, I'm just reminded that all we ever do is the best that we can with the stuff that is in front of us.
yeah, yeah, and
That's our understanding.
and I found myself in what I thought at the time was a great situation. I was
Mhm.
welcomed into this fold. I knew a lot of these folks from dealing with them in my store. Now I'm one of them, and it was a weird sort of like a customer service position where my customers were store managers and district managers and regional managers. So it's sort of a bridge
Okay.
between corporate and field. And I worked with some incredible people. Some of them are still in that office today. Um, and I was very, very lucky to be able to do what I did. And I was in that corporate office for 13 and a half years.
Wow.
And it started out great. Like one of my first few days, I had one of the buyers come over and she saw I had rainbow pins on my cube there. And she's like, "Are you dating somebody? I know a really nice girl." I'm like, I
Oh,
was dating somebody, but
they're,
yeah,
like, eager to set you up. You're like, "That's okay."
it was great. But I'm like, I'm dating somebody. I was actually dating somebody still here in Boston, long distance for a year and change.
Mm,
Uh, but as things progressed, each job that I held in that office was eventually eliminated. The
mm,
positions were, but I was retained
okay.
and moved among different departments. And in corporate America, which I don't miss at all,
Yeah,
there is a culling. They have to reconcile. If it's a publicly traded company, they've got to cut expenses somewhere.
yeah.
It's usually payroll. And we used to joke because it was a music chain and it became more of a pop culture
Mhm.
store uh, because now we have streaming. Um,
Yeah, yeah, right.
we used to joke that, after the fourth quarter, as we were wrapping up, we would have the Hunger Games.
Oh god. That's
Yeah,
stressful.
incredibly. So I saw a lot of my coworkers and friends leave on their own.
Okay.
Positions were eliminated, and they got a decent severance package and have
Mhm.
gone on to do great things. Um, and I was retained through 13 of those. And so that sort of did a little bit for my confidence.
Absolutely.
But through that, I had a handful of managers who shouldn't have been managers.
Mm,
There was a lot of ego.
mhm,
There was a lot of micromanaging.
mhm,
But I did have a support network. I had this one. She was the director of my department, and she is a very close friend to this day. And she kind of kept me from spinning out.
Yeah.
She said, "Yes, this is how this executive operates. This is how this manager operates. I understand it's not how you operate, but if you and I work together, we'll get you through."
Oh,
And
wow.
she put in one of my performance reviews that I was endlessly optimistic and eternally hopeful.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pause you there for a second because I think that is so indicative of your character. And when you go back and look at that snapshot of the person that tried to take her life and that was in that place where you had no hope.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I'll name her. Her name's Tanya, and she's incredible. She's still a very close friend to this day. I try to see her whenever I go
yeah,
back home. And she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and she was so supportive and so wonderful.
yeah,
And she kept in touch when she eventually left the company on her own for bigger and better things,
yeah.
and just reminded me that the person who I am now was in there the whole time.
Mm, yeah,
So yeah, she knows how much she means to me in that personal and professional
yeah.
capacity. Yeah.
I think another thing you talked about when we were speaking about doing the podcast was, finding your people. That really struck me. And it's such a metaphor for your life on all these different places and points that you're talking about, and how important that is to find those connections with those people and those people that really get you and the
Yeah.
people that you can really be real and formidable with.
Yeah, it's as soon as you had the with the like the document that you sent me in to prep for this, it got me thinking. I was like, well, I am so lucky. I have a blood family
Mhm.
that is incredible. I am just blessed to have been born into the family that I was born into. My parents are both still alive and kicking and wonderful.
Mhm.
My sister, again, I adore her. My nieces, aunts, uncles, cousins, you name it. But I also have what we've sort of among us dubbed the framily, our friends and family.
Yeah.
So I have the three from home that I've known my entire life. I have very small circle still from college, one of whom just lives north of here in New Hampshire, and I don't see her as often as I'd like. Um, and then I have a small circle of friends, believe it or not, that I met on Twitter.
Oh gosh, okay.
Oh, well, then I am like a nerd onion. I just have layers.
Well, so I want you to speak a little bit more to the process of the finding your people. I mean, you give a lot of really great benefit about how you have gotten to that point and those pods of people that have really been your support mechanism through the years and how and I love what you said earlier about you were treading water and a platform appeared. It's like these multiple little platforms are appearing for you within this.
I know my wife and I are firm believers in the universe, capital T, capital U.
Yeah.
And had I not started watching this wonderfully nerdy sci-fi western show, I would have never gotten on Twitter. And if I had never gotten on Twitter and engaged with some of these people, I never would have met them in person.
Yeah.
And had I not ever met these people in person, I don't know where I would, with whom I would be associating.
Yeah.
Um, my wife and I we don't necessarily keep to ourselves on purpose,
Yeah.
but we enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
And if we do see people, it's deliberate. And I have my wonderful, uh, it's a very long, convoluted story, but they're my trees.
Okay.
And as
Okay.
soon Yeah, my family, and they're my trees, and, I talk to them daily. We have a
Mhm.
very lively group chat. 2 of them are also named Meredith.
Oh, wow.
Random, right?
You're very, very random.
Yeah. And so we all just kind of keep in touch, and every day we sort of just, like, check in,
Mhm.
touch base, and it's kind of grounding. It's kind of like, "All right, here's my blob of normalcy for the day.
Mhm.
Let's in the chaos."
So you had to make a choice to be deliberate, whether it's with your wife and that connection, whether it's with your family and your trees that you just talked about and those connections. Like it's deliberate. How do you think when you're in a place of just inner turmoil, what is that eternally hopeful spring that you can find inside of yourself, that you have found inside of yourself to step out and go, is it just a point where you get to like, I've just had enough, I can't do this anymore, or it's a realization that I deserve more than this,
There
or ah,
I deserve this.
yeah.
Everything I've been through has led me to this point. I am happy here. Let me continue to find those little sparks.
Mhm.
Let those little, those fireflies in the meadow, those will-o'-the-wisps in the forest. Let's find those little flashes of light and go toward those.
Yeah.
Um, you know, People like to joke that I get distracted by shiny objects. Oh yeah, running joke. I have something called SOS, shiny object syndrome.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I identify with Dory from Finding Nemo, very
That's
much
all
so.
good.
Keep swimming. Um,
Keep swimming.
and so I was like, I look for, even when things look bleak,
Mhm.
I try and focus on what brings me joy. And if I am in a place of joy, I hope that joy radiates. And I hope somebody else can absorb some of that and find joy.
Yeah.
Um, I've always been a people pleaser,
Okay.
and my love language is acts of service.
There you go.
So I want people to be happy. I want them to feel welcome. I want them to feel a sense of peace or a sense of calm or to connect
Mhm.
somehow. Or if I find this funny, maybe you'll find it funny.
Yeah.
Maybe have that little connection kind
Yeah.
of thing. I think it's about recognizing that the world is not all sunshine and rainbows,
Yeah.
but finding little pockets where you can.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And also recognizing that you deserve and you're putting your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah,
Because I would wager to bet as a people pleaser that you haven't always done that.
I've tried.
Okay.
Yeah, as a kid, I was a weird kid, and I never felt like I connected with anybody.
Mhm.
And throughout my childhood and my teenage years and young adulthood, I was always striving to find a connection. And I think that's where it stems from,
Yeah.
doing something nice for somebody completely unsolicited.
Mhm.
Uh, there's the forged connection.
Mhm. Yeah. If we skip back to, Tanya, is that correct? Did I say her name properly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Skip back to that, relationship, if you will, and how she got you through another pocket.
yeah. Very much like a big sister.
Mhm.
Just you know, recognizing the fact that she was in the workplace, I reported to her, but also, I don't know, she just saw something in me and I saw something in her.
Mhm.
The person I can trust with the me I'm meant to be. And I know she won't take advantage of me. She won't take me for granted.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think,
because it's not been your case.
no, she was in that professional capacity, the one person who, even if it was not an issue that involved her or her department, I could always bounce something off of her.
Mhm.
I said, "This is how I'm feeling. I understand, in my on my own, my feelings are legitimate, but is this an appropriate response? Is this appropriate reaction? Can I bounce this off of you? And I would get an honest answer, yes or no.
Yeah.
Try it. So very much, a mentor. I've been very lucky to have excellent mentors, and these mentors just kind of have, embedded themselves in my lives. And every now and again, I'll get a random text message, completely unsolicited. Hey, I'm thinking about you today. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
hi. Yeah.
that's wonderful. That I think you
Okay.
said it too. You said the word trust. And that's such a big, big, powerful thing that creates those connections and that really establishes them. And when you feel safe with a person, no matter what it is, personally, professionally, that that safety and that trust is that foundation. And it's another platform for you to get through where you were. And I
Yeah.
know you said during that job you didn't you thankfully you had individuals, mentors like herself that kinda helped get you to that point where once you left that job, you could look back at it and go, "Whoa, like,
Yeah.
what" talk about high functioning for how long?
Yeah. 20 years,
No.
3 years. If I look at the first job and then my years in the field and in corporate. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so night and day. It's just maybe I was a year removed, and one day I was the beginning of quarantine. I had a lot of time to think.
Right.
And
We were all like, yeah, put our thinking caps on.
stuff in my head, and I realized, like, wow, that was not great. It
Mm,
was all right as I was going through it, but I can see different points where it's like I just put my head down, my headphones on, and powered through.
yeah.
Get it done, make somebody proud of me who would never be. Uh,
Mm,
But and just get it done. And in that time, I got thinking about the situations I was in and who got me through those situations. My wife, one of them, and then the people that I was surrounded by.
mhm.
And again, the universe puts people in your orbit for a reason. So
Right, right. And then if you step outside of where you were and where you are now, if you look back at that snapshot, are there things I shouldn't say that are there things. There's gonna be things that you would probably look at and go, I wish I would have done this differently or this better or this in a with someone else or all the things that kinda go through that people could call regret. But I think it's lessons along the way where you go, "All right, that taught me what I do want, that taught me what I don't want, what
yeah,
works for me, what doesn't work for me."
well, there's
Um,
always that shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I could have left that job, but what would I have done? It was comfortable. I made a good salary. Once again, treading water, head above, breathing normally.
Mhm.
The salary and the paid time off and the Monday through Friday allowed me and my wife to travel and do some fun things. But, at the end of the day, I put my head on the pillow. What did I do today? That sort of thing. And
Mm,
yeah, I started sooner, but would I be where I am now if I didn't?
yeah.
Right. So
What would your advice be to somebody that may be in that position that you were in those years ago of
it,
that the below water kind of totally just floundering?
3 words, it gets better. You have to be the one to kick it off. Do not expect anybody to make these decisions for you.
Yeah,
You have to be the person that has to make the change, that wants to make the change. You may need to make a change, but you have to want it. Want and need are very different things.
yeah. Yeah. Want and need are very I'm saying it for you again. Want and need are very different things. I think being comfortable, like you just described, being in that place of comfort, we operate from that, and that's where our high functioning space, if you will, comes from because of our inability to go under the water and really see the churning stuff that you're doing and you're kicking that you're doing and looking at it. Do you think that that vacation that you took to Europe where you decided so many things are gonna change and I'm gonna go a totally different direction was your point of this? Or do you feel like you have multiple points of, "I'm going underwater and looking at this," and
There are multiple points on this timeline where I can say, all right, well, there's a pivot point. There's a pivot point. And every twist and turn, every double back, every U turn um, got me to where I am.
Mhm.
And uh, are there things I do differently? Of course. But I am where I am because of the decisions I've made.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can't, I think I've talked to my daughter about this, quite a while back, like, you can't regret the decision that you make in the moment that you're in with the information that you have. And I think it's great for us to look back and go, "Okay, what did we learn from this?" and everything. So I understand that I'm where I'm at because of my growth and my evolution, and my soul has to go through these things to be able to understand more about myself. And I think another thing my husband will say is, with wisdom comes sadness. Sometimes when you look back and you go, "Wow, I'm wise about that, but I'm so sad that that happened," or that I see someone else going through that and you wanna try to fix it for them and you wanna try to help them, but being the best version of yourself is actually what's helpful. Would you consider yourself a mentor?
No, no, don't do what I do. No, no. I mean, I
I
would hope.
mean
I mean, I would hope that my nieces would see something in me, follow your bliss
Mhm,
sort of thing. But my sister and brother-in-law have that very well in hand.
got
But
it.
no, I mean, maybe for new tour guides.
Okay. Well, so let's go on to your job now because that's where I officially met you, and I when are you gonna go on your public speaking tour? Because that's gonna happen. Because
Nobody.
you're really, really great at it.
Like I said, I was a theater kid. You
Yeah.
know, I was on stage from the time I was 6 years old. Never said I was good, but it gave me a presence, and it's something that I can turn on and off.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when we met, oh boy, was I on. Um,
It was great.
I'm
It
glad.
was great.
Um, I I'm just I'm so lucky. I said it to you at the end of the tour that I kind of float through life in a gratitude bubble,
Yeah.
like Linda through Oz, but she looks better in tulle. Um, I can't rock the pink tulle and the tiara. It
Yeah,
doesn't
the
look.
whole thing.
No, this job, I swear, I've always had an interest in the hospitality end of things,
Mhm.
uh, and I think it speaks to my people pleasing nature.
Okay.
But it just fits.
Mhm.
It just like I can act like a complete idiot for an hour, have a great time, and hopefully entertain and inform people at
Yes.
the same time, and make
Yes.
it something to remember. I mean, Fenway Park in itself is incredible.
Right.
History in those, I can't call it 4, 5 walls. You remember, it's shaped a little funky.
Yes,
Um,
it is. It's a lot
but
funky.
but just being able to share that with people and just like little bits of my personality along with the personality of this incredible building and the history behind it.
Mhm.
Uh, I hope somebody's a little lighter and brighter after than
Yeah.
they were before.
I think you brought
Really
up well, I think you brought up a really interesting thing about, living in Boston during the reverse the curse,
Ooh.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if I just take that analogy of reverse the curse, like, not that you're cursed, but if we're looking we're looking at it from a broader picture and a broader spectrum, it's like you had to make a choice to reverse a lot of things, to change a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's again, everything has propelled me to this point.
Yeah.
And I think in my nearly half a century here on this earth, I am. as happy as I've ever been. It's yes, there have been great moments between then and now,
Mhm.
but right now is the time, I think, for me. I am so blessed and lucky to be able to do what I do. My wife is incredibly supportive.
Mhm.
We moved here 4 years ago, a couple of months before lockdown.
Okay.
So, I we moved here, and I had to find more than one bit of gainful employment that would contribute to my household.
Yeah.
And I just kind of looked at her. I said, "What do you think about this?" I found the position on Indeed.com,
Are you
and I'm
serious?
dead serious. Oh yeah. And I just kind of looked at her because I was looking at tour guide jobs and you know pub crawls, things having to do with beer or whatever. And I found this Red Sox tours, and she just looked at me. She didn't have to say a word. She just looked at me, and I'm like, okay, click.
I'm I'm going for it.
Yeah, 'cause I've been a Sox fan my whole life,
Yeah.
and yeah,
You
it's
talk about
really
synchronicity.
yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and it's just I can I don't take it for granted that I have the luxury to work 2 part-time jobs
Mhm.
where I have fun, where I am not micromanaged, where I am allowed some agency, where I am allowed to flex my extrovert, if you will,
Yeah.
and make it happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fulfilling. And
It is.
if you look back at all of the places that you were,
Yeah.
I
It's like
mean,
a
if
different
yeah,
I'm still me, still that little weirdo, but, happy in my skin.
that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Self-acceptance about you as a person.
Yeah, that's
Happy.
a huge thing that no one can teach you. You've gotta figure that out on your own. No one can teach you that.
What do you think was the most valuable lesson for you to get to that point for you?
But I'm not alone.
Ah,
I'm not alone. I have my family, I have my family, I have my incredible wife, I have an amazing life. And, again, everything that I slogged through got me to where I am, and I'm just so happy.
yeah,
Wake
yeah.
up every morning, and I'm not a morning person, but till I put my feet on the floor, I stretch, and I'm like, "All right, let's do this."
Oh,
I'm
that's
I'm
beautiful. Yeah, you're grateful. Yeah,
very
yeah,
oh, the first word that pops to mind, grateful.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something to be said for getting to that point after you've been through the things that you've been through and the low points.
Yeah,
Without the low points, you can't have those high points. You got
yeah, it's
that
all
balance.
it's
Yeah,
waves and crests.
yeah, absolutely. What's been the biggest blessing in your life so far?
Oh, that'd be boss, my wife.
Oh.
We will be married it'll be 7 years married in a couple of weeks,
Oh,
and
congratulations.
we'll be together it'll be 17 years this summer.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, we met in the Capital District through a mutual friend, and, talk about right place, right time. Again, the universe,
Yeah.
I decided to go to a birthday party. She separately decided to go to this birthday party. Yeah,
And the rest is history.
we met in a fast casual dining establishment in a strip mall.
Of all places.
I know,
Yeah.
so but yeah, yeah. She is my rock. She is I mean, as you have figured out, this is a lot. This is a lot. She is incredibly patient. Uh,
Mhm,
she is as introverted as I am extroverted, so we're a great balance.
mhm.
There is not a lot that we don't have in common. I'm just so thankful for her. She's just yeah. And I'm thankful for my nieces. I have 2 incredible nieces. They're teenagers and they're wonderful young human beings. And my family and my family and just there's a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you feel like well,
boss
do
is
you
it.
feel yeah, yeah. Do you feel like you've always had that thankfulness inside of you, or do you feel like it's, your experiences have challenged that maybe?
Uh, no, I've always been pretty cognizant of what I had
Mhm.
throughout my you know, 2 parents who've known each other their entire lives. They're at a point they don't remember their life before the other was in it. They grew up together.
Wow.
So very stable family structure.
Yeah.
Um, my sister and I had an incredible upbringing. There were wants, but never needs. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yep, totally makes sense, yeah. Yeah.
We were very well provided for. We were
Mhm.
raised well. We had all 4 grandparents with us,
That's nice.
and they were huge parts of our lives. Um, I just think my parents set an incredible example.
Mm. Yeah.
They are thankful for what they have. Henceforth, my sister and I are incredibly thankful for what we have, and we want to pass that down. So, me through my extreme extroversion,
Yes.
doing what I do, my sister through her kids, and my sister doing what she does for work. My brother-in-law in there as well. He's an incredible guy. Yeah, no, the thankfulness has always been there,
Yeah.
just because of by whom I was raised and how I was raised. It's there. It's always been there.
Yeah. That's amazing. I don't know that a lot of people have that gift and that springboard like you did. Because I don't know if I've listened back and I think about what you've said, over our talk so far, is that you were challenged in so many capacities that if you didn't have that as your foundation, things could have been a lot different for you.
Absolutely. There are
Mhm.
so different than peeling my nerd onion, alternative universes
Yeah.
out there. Um, I often wonder about that. The whole Marvel comics, the multiverse, and DC comics, the multiverse.
Oh, yeah.
Um, massive nerd. Did I mention that?
You've said that.
uh,
It's okay. It's all good.
it's. I wonder about that. Like, is there another universe where I am not the me I know? You know,
Mm,
if I had made a different decision, if I had not accepted the position to go to the corporate office from the store in Boston, I would have never met my wife.
right.
It's just, yeah,
So, there we go back to the word trust. And just know that what's how things are unfolding and how things are happening is an integral part of your life and what is meant to be for you.
yeah, capital T, capital U, the universe, but
Mhm,
not, it's not an all powerful thing.
mhm.
You have to drive your own car. The car will get you where you need to be, but you have to operate it. You got to
Yeah,
put in, you got to shift. All right, I drive a 5 speed. Um, but you've got to, you've got to steer,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. I
that's,
think that's my biggest takeaway here, and I hope that others can hear that what you are saying is that we all have choice. We all
the
have
beauty,
choice.
the
And
beauty.
sometimes we're powerless to make those shifts and those choices happen. But we all get to a point where we're faced with that inevitable, you have to do something.
Yeah,
I
and
have
you
to
figure out you have the power within you all along.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. And understanding that it's there, that power within you, like you just said, it's always been there, that eternal spring of hope. And I keep going back to that because I'm gonna call you a survivor of a lot of different things. You were semicolon on your hand. Yeah. You're a survivor, and when you're in that place of darkness, you're not thinking about hope.
No,
So
and you're not thinking about the future either.
Mhm.
Very focused on your unhappy present.
Yeah. Yeah, and focusing on that can be so, overwhelming and just heavy, but you're here for a reason. That's the biggest takeaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything I've done, everything I've experienced, it's got me to where I am today.
Mhm.
And yeah, this I think is the best version of me in the last half century. So
Ah, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Meredith. It's been really, really, really great.
my pleasure. Oh, Dawn, I'm so glad that the universe got you onto my tour.
Yes! I mean, the most random thing, literally.
Yay!
Yeah,
Right. You get
literally.
paired with a weirdo on staff and, points out all the weird stuff.
No, we loved it. We were like, "Dude, like, she knows her stuff." And she's entertaining, and you're just empathetic. You're really engaged, and I think that says again, we'll go back to the character thing. It says a lot about the choices that you've had to make to be that person. You're innately that positive individual, but you get up in the morning and you make a choice that
To
this
be
is
that
gonna be a good day.
Yeah, don't stress over what you can't control. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Right,
Something's going pear-shaped. Is it my problem? It might be my problem. Do I have the power to do something about it? No, I don't. Let those who are equipped to deal with it, and then things will roll forward as they're meant to be.
right. Right. Oh, I love it. Okay, so before we wrap up, I want to throw some rapid fire questions your way because I think this is going to be amazing. It's just a way to lighten things and get another side of your personality, which we've seen a huge side of your personality, but let's get some more. Let's dig a little deeper.
Let's go.
All right, rapid fire question number 1. What is your favorite season and why?
Mm. I like fall.
Yeah.
I like the smell of wet leaves,
Okay.
and it reminds me of home.
Ah,
Uh, I like the fact you can smell wood stoves in the air occasionally, and that conjures in my mind hot air balloons.
okay.
There was a hot air is a hot air balloon festival in my hometown every year, and I
Oh,
spent many years going to it. So fall is, yeah, the smell of wet leaves, wood stoves, things like that.
oh, I love that. Have you ever ridden in a hot air balloon?
I have it's wild. It's falling and floating at the same time.
Right?
It's really and loud. It's very loud,
Oh,
but,
really? With the mechanism it
burner,
has to keep it upright, yeah.
gas
Okay.
burner.
Alright, question number 2. Would you ever try stand-up comedy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're not the first person to actually throw that at me. I've had that question the last 2 days, actually, somebody asked me that.
Oh my
Yeah,
god! This is the
yeah,
3rd time then, so that things come in threes, you need to check it out.
yeah, I do believe in the threes. Yeah, I don't know if anybody would really find me funny if I just, I find the weird in everything, and, if it piques my interest, it might not pique somebody else's interest. I have a very strange sense of humor, so,
But you're unique, and you're thriving on being unique.
yeah, I'm trying.
You're doing great, doing great. Alright, question number 3. Would your 12-year-old self think that you're cool?
My 12-year-old self knowing what I know now, or my 12-year-old self from then? Because my
Ah.
from then would be scared to death of me.
Ah, yeah.
Um, but knowing what I know now, nobody thinks I'm cool, so no. My teenage nieces don't think I'm cool, so whatever.
I don't know about that.
I think they're cool.
I love it. Alright, question number 4. Given the power, what holiday would you create?
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
I mean, there's a holiday for everything. There's like National Hot Dog Bun Day. There's
Every Says every day is a holiday. But what would your holiday be? The Meredith holiday.
oh boy. Um, oh, uh, National Chocolate Milk Day. I
Okay,
love chocolate milk.
okay. We're creating it if it's not already out there.
It's not already there, right?
And we're gonna stamp your name on it. Meredith's Chocolate Milk Day.
I like that.
Awesome. I assume that you love chocolate milk and you maybe grew up drinking chocolate milk?
Yeah, the Nestle Quick powder in
Loved
the
it.
tin. Yeah.
Yeah, in the tin. Totally dating ourselves.
Yeah, you gotta, like, tap the top back on and pry it off with a spoon, yeah.
Yes!
Never
Been
the
there.
strawberries, always the chocolate.
Yes, yes. All right, question number 5, and then I'll let you go. What quote resonates with you the most?
Mm, well, there's a few. What really gets me is, "I'm here and I stay." It is from an episode of a television show called Winona Earp,
Okay.
and the character who says this line is fighting a demon. The writer of this episode created this demon as a metaphor for depression.
Mm,
So, at this critical point in this episode, this demon is verbally abusing our heroine, saying things like, "You don't belong here, nobody loves you." All of those words that you say to yourself when you are at your lowest.
mhm,
And the heroine of the story is hearing all these words and she's reacting to all these words. And then she realizes, no, no, I am not going to commit self harm. I am not going to believe any of what you are telling to me. I am here and I stay.
mm. I love that.
That that resonated with me. And when I got this tattoo, I actually sent the picture to the writer of that episode.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that
Had
made
the pleasure
such a
of
huge
meeting.
impact for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's made an impact on a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of meeting this writer. Her name is Shelley Scarrow, and those words, "I'm here and I stay," resonate with a lot of people, but definitely it cut deep here with me, and I'm glad I've stayed.
Oh, I'm glad you have too.
Thank you.
Mm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for staying. Thank you so much for being vulnerable. Thank you so much for being you. And thank you so much for making those choices to to be in your skin and to stay.
Thank you, Dawn. I really appreciate this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you're welcome. I've enjoyed our time so much. And I look forward to another trip to Boston. And when I come back, now I know where to find you and we'll hang out. And I don't drink, but I'll come sit and you can educate my 21-year-old then on beers. And I'm sure she'll just be all over it.
I got you. I love that.
Well, Meredith, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a great anniversary with your wife in 7 days. It'll be
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
And keep enjoying your life and being grateful and filled with all that gratitude and those awesome choices and that positivity and that hope and that light that you bring. It's great.
Thank, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.